There are three tools in Illustrator that are devoted to splitting paths in various ways. These can be useful when you need to create a unique shape that doesn't exist in any of the existing shape tools in Illustrator. Let's take a closer look at how these tools work. I'm beginning this video with the splitting.ai file already open on my computer. And the tools that we're going to be focusing on in this video are the ones found right here below the pencil tool, and the one that you should see is the eraser tool. But if you click and hold on that, you'll notice that there are three different tools that are found in here. So I'm going to begin by going over the eraser tool. Now, the eraser tool is actually fairly similar to the blob brush tool. Instead of it drawing shapes, its job is to, well, obliterate contents as you drag over it. So, for example, I'm going to click to select this shape. And what I did is I held down the Command key on Mac or the Control key on Windows to temporarily activate my selection tool, and I just clicked on this shape. And the eraser tool, just like the blob brush tool, works off of a brush shape. So I can increase or decrease the size of the brush tip by using the left and right bracket keys on my keyboard. In addition, you can double click on the eraser tool to bring up the eraser tool options. So we can adjust the angle, roundness, and size for this particular shape as well. Now I'm going to leave this set to its default. And the way that this works, I'll just make this a little bit smaller, is if I click and drag through this shape and I let go, you're going to see that it has split this shape into two separate areas. And it automatically closes both of the shapes. So if I hold down Command or Control and I click on this object, you can see that this is now a totally separate shape, and it closed the path for me automatically. Now, the thing about this tool is that you're actually removing material, if you will, or removing artwork. So however big your brush is, it's actually going to remove that area. So you can use it in a couple of different ways. I mean, I can click and drag in this area, and that's just going to punch a hole in the object. Or I can reshape it by kind of dragging over the edge and just kind of changing, the shape of that object. Now, if you don't have anything selected and you drag with this tool, it'll obliterate anything in its path. So you want to keep that in mind when using the eraser tool. I'm just going to undo that. And what you want to keep in mind is that if you select an object, then it's only going to modify that selected object and nothing else. But if you have nothing selected, it's just going to obliterate everything. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect everything, and I'm going to click on the eraser tool and go to the scissors tool. Now the scissors tool works a little bit differently. So if I zoom in on this circle down at the bottom, this is a great tool because it's a little bit more precise. And so if I Command or Control click on this shape to select it, the job of the scissors tool is to cut a path wherever you click. So, this is one complete shape. But if I click right here, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on an anchor point, but let's say I want a semicircle. So if I click on this anchor point, and then I come over here and I click on this anchor point, what you're going to see is that if you Command click to select this shape, you'll see that we've now cut this shape in two. Now the difference here is that we have not actually closed the path. If I select this and remove the fill, you'll be able to see, actually switch to my direct selection tool, so that you can see that we only have the semicircle and the path is not closed. Now you could certainly close it if you wanted to. We could select both of these anchor points, and if you press Command J on your keyboard, that would close that path. That would be using the join command. So keep in mind that when you're using this tool, the scissors tool, you're only going to cut the path and it's going to remain open. Now I'm going to move over to this third option here, because the other tool I want to show you underneath the scissors tool is the knife tool. And the knife tool's behavior is closer to the eraser tool, only in that it's a little less precise. It's really just a free form knife, if you will. And so, for example, this shape that I have here, if I click and drag to cut through there, notice that it didn't do anything because it didn't have the object selected. So if I select the object and then I click and drag to cut through there, you'll notice that if I grab the selection tool, that it has just cut it precisely where I dragged it. And just like with the scissors tool, it cut it without removing any material, but unlike the scissors tool, it automatically closes the path for you. So that's different behaviors that you'll find with each of these different tools. And so if I fit my artboard to the window, you're going to see that it also works when dealing with odd shapes like this. And this was just some text that I had converted to a path. But if I use my knife tool, just like with the regular shape, I can cut and split it right in half. Now, because this is made up of some compound paths, what I'm going to do is just go to Object and choose Ungroup. And now you'll find that all of these elements are separated into individual areas. So as you can see, there are many options to choose from. When you find yourself with the need to take an existing object and split it apart, remember these tools and put them to good use.